Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Pittsburgh Building for this truly historic celebration. Before we hear from our provost, I'd like to take a moment to introduce Dr. Rebecca Dorsch, although many of you already know her dedication to our RPI community. Dr. Dorsch joined us as provost in August 2023, and in many ways, she came home. A native of upstate New York, and a first-generation college student, Provost Dorsch understands firsthand how education is a pathway to leadership. Her academic journey took her from theoretical mathematics to a PhD in statistics and postdoctoral work in biology. Before joining RPI, she served as the Glenn DeVries Dean of the Mellon College of Science at Carnegie Mellon University, where she launched pioneering initiatives bringing together science and technology. That vision, the integration of cutting-edge technology with fundamental disciplines, is precisely what we celebrate here today as we mark 100 years since business administration was elevated to an academic department at RPI. Provost Dorsch has been a phenomenal partner to Lally, and we are incredibly grateful to her for everything she has done and continues to do. To put it shortly, she is amazing, and not just because she's my boss. And we are delighted to have her here today. So Dr. Dorsch, please join me.
I don't think there's anything left to say. I don't know, I hope I don't disappoint you. My name's Rebecca Dorsch. Yes, I am from upstate New York, if everyone's wondering where. I grew up in the southwest corner of Albany County, a town called Preston Hollow, which is next to Potter Hollow, which is next to Bates Hollow, which is next to Sleepy Hollow. And there were 103 people, and now there's 102 because I left all those years ago. So it's really interesting that this opportunity brought me home after all those years. I left when I was 17, and now I'm at least 25. So anyway, thank you, Leanne, for the kind words. The other thing is that, as Leanne mentioned, I moved here from Pittsburgh. So I'm on campus, and I'm walking around, and I see the Pittsburgh Building. Okay, that's weird. Okay. And then I turn around, and I see the Carnegie Building. I'm home. This is great. So welcome and congratulations. And I'm just going to say up front, I want to thank the team that made this happen. So Liad, you're a rock star. Thank you for joining RPI. And when he sets his sights on something, Rebecca, we're going to take advantage of that new fire system. He did. And he finished, I'm not sure on budget, but he finished on time. And I saw Rob Carney here somewhere. Where are you? The facilities guy. Eileen, our CFO. Anybody from the construction or the architecture or anything? Oh, there we go. Thank you for putting up with Leanne. So I'm sure we paid extra for that. So 100 years ago, business administration became a formal department at RPI, and that was the brainchild of President Ricketts. And he did this because he wanted to cement RPI truly as a polytechnic. And so he established a Department of Art, Science, and Business Administration. So business administration was not a sole department to begin. And then 62 years ago, the art, science, and business administration were separated, and the School of Management was born. Now the difference between the School of Management and the School of Engineering, Science, Architecture, and Humanities, Arts, and Social Sciences, 5 academics, is that Lally doesn't have departments inside of it. They have areas. So it already has defined itself 62 years ago as being a school of management. 30 years ago, Kenneth and Thelma Lally generously endowed the Lally School of Management with the largest donation at the time of $15 million. And we have the great nephew
Just one grade.
Is it your mom? No, your mom. One grade. Just grade.
You're still great.
Yes, you're great. We have the great nephew of Kenneth and Thelma Lally in their presence, so thank you for being here. And I made you extra great, so. We're standing here because of our alumni. We're standing here because of the history of RPI. You all know that we celebrated our 200th anniversary last year. And so it's really timely that 100 years for this building that we're seeing a renovation. This building was completed in 1912. In 1998, the School of Management moved in, and in 2025, we see this wonderful renovation. And with that wonderful renovation comes a vision for the Lally School of Management that really embraces the environment that we're in: engineering, analytics, science. And for those of you who haven't heard, we recently moved information technology and web science. We might change the name. We're going to keep the information technology, but maybe the web science might go away. Well, the ad's like, shh. So I just want to welcome everyone. Thank you so much for your support of the Lally School of Management. Students, raise your hands, because thank you very much for being here on a Saturday afternoon. We appreciate it. I enjoyed meeting you guys. So thank you. I am going to introduce Lead back to the podium, and he can fix all the mistakes that I made. So thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you. All right. So I want to point out that today we're celebrating not just 100 years since business administration was elevated to a department, we're also celebrating the reopening of this building, this 113-year-old building. Welcome back. Our story, though, does not begin in 1925 or 1902. It begins on a November day in 1824 when Van Rensselaer wrote his founding letter to Reverend Samuel Blatchford, who was our first president. And in that letter, he articulated a vision for a revolutionary institute, a school at the time. He established that school for the purpose of instructing persons who may choose to apply themselves in the application of science to the common purposes of life. That's the quote we all know, right? But there's more to it. He went on to say that this school would train instructors in practical knowledge, agriculture, domestic economy, the arts, manufacturers, and again, I quote, with its application to the business of living. All right? The business of living. And think about what that meant back in 1824, when other institutions trained gentlemen in classical languages and abstract philosophy. Rensselaer envisioned something different. An education that would be equally within the reach of all, teaching the sons and daughters of farmers and mechanics how to apply scientific knowledge to solve real problems, build real enterprises, and improve real lives. This wasn't just America's first technological university. From its very first day, RPI was about the marriage of technical knowledge and practical application, which is to say, the marriage of business and technology. So when we say we're celebrating 100 years, we're celebrating a formalization, not a beginning, because business, commerce, and practical purposes of life have been woven into our DNA here since 1824. Think about our alumni from those early decades. We talk about certain ones in contemporary times, but we've had some alumni who revolutionized not just the country, but the world. We have Theodore Judah, who envisioned the transcontinental railroad. Think about what that did to the country and by extension to the world. Incredible. we have Washington Roebling, who not only engineered but managed the complex business of building the Brooklyn Bridge. These weren't just engineers. They were engineer entrepreneurs. They were engineer managers. They were business engineers. They were financial engineers. They were marketing engineers. They were engineer leaders who understood that technical brilliance means little without the ability to finance it, to manage it, to market it, to scale it, to bring it to the market. So when President John Winslow, who was our 5th president and the first non-pastor president, who was a businessman, not an engineer, a financier, when he re-emphasized business education at RPI in 1865, about 40 years after our founding, he wasn't doing something new. He was just continuing what we had at the start. And when President Palmer Ricketts, a transformative leader that was here as president for 33 years, established the Department of Arts, Science, and Business Administration in 1925, he wasn't inventing something new. He was giving formal recognition to what has always been here. Now, President Ricketts also extended the number of degree programs 6-fold, and the number of students 9-fold, to nearly 2,000 students. He was responsible for this colonial revival buildings that we love around campus. And he was somewhat of a historian. There are 3 editions of the history book he wrote about Rensselaer. We could just focus on the 3rd edition. And in 1933, when those degree programs came to be, if you look in his history book at the curricula of those degree programs, and I'm talking about metallurgical engineering, aeronautical engineering, mechanical engineering, even architecture that came in 1929, thereabouts, they all had business administration courses in them as part of their curricula. This is not something new here, all right? And the degree in arts, science, and business administration that was formalized in 1925 had another innovation. So Rensselaer, we didn't just create experiential learning in 1824. In 1925, when we formalized the degree of business administration, we also required that a substantial portion of the degree be spent working in approved organizations, showcasing that experiential learning, those co-ops, those internships that date all the way centuries ago. All right? Those are not new here. 1933 was also the start of master's programs in business administration. But make no mistake, this wasn't about making engineers into accountants, although some went that way. It was about recognizing that in the increasingly complex technological environment, technical excellence required sophisticated business knowledge to translate discoveries and prototypes into impact. Sounds familiar? It's the same thing we see today. Ricketts understood that science and technology needed business leadership to transform inventions into innovations, and innovations into industries. And so, some years later, in 1963, RPI elevated the department to a school, and the School of Management came to be. And this formalization is our commitment to developing leaders who deeply understand technology, and technologists who deeply understand business. The timing was also perfect to elevating the department to a school. We stood at the dawn of the computer age, the space age, the information age. The need for leaders who could bridge technical, and commercial worlds was huge, just as it is now. So I'd be remiss if I didn't speak about your great-grandparents. Ken and Thelma Lally came along. Ken was one of ours. He was an engineer that became an entrepreneur. In 1964, he purchased the historic W&L.E. Gurley Company, a Troy manufacturer of precision instruments that was struggling financially. He was what's called an ETA, entrepreneur through acquisition. Ken's leadership not only saved this 112-year-old company, but it made it thrive. And in 1968, he sold it to Teledyne Corporation and served as president of that corporation, Teledyne Gurley, until his retirement in 1980. Ken Lally knew firsthand what we teach, that managing technology requires a unique combination of technical depth and business acumen. That's why Ken and Thelma committed $15 million in 1995, then the largest single gift in RPI's history, to name our school and to ensure that we could become, in their words, the best of breed. Then the Ken and Thelma Lally School of Management was born from their vision, from those who lived our mission. And that's what brings us to this magnificent building. Some of you have been able to take a tour around. In 1909, at a midwinter alumni dinner in Pittsburgh, our alumni did something extraordinary. They pledged $125,000, 1909. That was a staggering sum. To build an administration building for RPI. And Wilkins, an architect, class of 1879, designed it and donated the architectural services. When this building opened in 1912, it was the heart of the university. The president's office was here. The library was here. A geological museum was here. And there are so many stories woven into this. With the Geological Museum, there's a story of a faculty member who was a student as well and walked a couple hundred miles to get here from the East Coast because he couldn't afford a bus ride when he was a student. It's just incredible stories that fill this building. And on the 5th floor, there was a grand assembly hall that hosted everything from faculty meetings to social events. Now, there's also this piece of history that says that Ricketts passed away in his office. Thankfully, it wasn't in this building. It was in the Ricketts building. Now, for decades, the major decisions that shaped this institution were nonetheless made within these walls, right? In 1998, these walls were finally renovated. Major renovation thanks to Lally's generosity. And this building, with a combination of a $5 million gift from the Lallys and $2.5 million from other alumni, came together to add a whole section to the back of the building on each and every floor. A huge renovation. And it transitioned the building from an administrative focused building to the School of Management. And we moved here from the Lally building. Now, for decades, this is where we were. Up until August of this year, when we have regained some presence in the Lally building with the move of the information technology program into the School of Management. So I want you to take a look around when you're taking your tour, or if you've already taken it, just think back. When we renovated it this summer, the team did it in 3 months. Started some days after commencement and finished a day before classes started. Incredible work. A team came together from the Lally group to the facilities group to our external designers that are here somewhere. There they are. And this entire renovation was with students in mind, students first, students centered. How can we improve the student experience, right? That includes a financial markets research lab that has 12 Bloomberg terminals. But it doesn't just have terminals, it has incredible data sets, from CompuStat to Refinitiv to S&P Capital IQ Pro to FactSet and BoardX and others. And our students now in the Finance Club manage a real portfolio for around $250,000. A small slice of the endowment that the students make the calls on. We have a behavioral research lab that's equipped with cutting-edge eye tracking technology that can track all the way to the fine movements of the pupils when they experience stress or when they browse a website or an app. Those devices are not in the room, so sorry. All right. This building has seen and has been many things in its 113 years, but today we rededicate it to its highest purpose yet, preparing leaders who will navigate the technological revolutions of the 21st century. And this is what defines us. We don't just teach business and technology as separate subjects, we teach them as inseparable dimensions of the same challenge. Our students don't just study financial markets, they use cutting-edge technology and data to analyze them in real time, to understand risk, to understand how advanced technology influences finance. Where else do you have access to this infrastructure, to a quantum computer, to a supercomputer, to the Bloomberg terminals, to all these data sets together? Where else do you have access to so many living alumni who are incredibly successful and can be your mentors? The ratio of our expenditures on technology on a per student basis is unmatched, and the ratio of our living successful alumni on a per student basis is unmatched. This is not me just saying it. There are empirical studies that show that RPI is first among private universities in advancing graduates over their lifetime through the income distribution. All right? Our students engage in consulting projects now and can do so as soon as they get here, as soon as they start through the Rensselaer Consulting Club. We have a Women in Business Club. We have a Marketing Club. Right? These are all clubs that our students decided to form on their own with our support. Now, we have so much more to do, but this is such an incredible milestone. And I want you to appreciate that this is meant to not just train students. We don't train here, right? We develop and prepare leaders. That's what we're about. So, 201 years ago, Rensselaer envisioned an education that applied to the business of living, and 100 years ago, President Ricketts formalized that vision into the Department of Art, Science, and Business Administration. And today, we carry that vision forward. So before I close, I just want to express some profound gratitude to our alumni and the Lally family for their transformative generosity and for their belief in what we could become. From those Pittsburgh alumni who gave us this building in 1909, to those who have supported us at every stage since and continue to do that today, and many of you are here now. You are the living proof of what this education creates and what impactful giving does for the next generation of leaders. And we have some of our students here who you will engage with shortly. To our faculty and staff who pour their expertise, energy, passion, and heart and soul into every course, every lab, every student conversation, every detail, and this renovation, thank you. And to our facilities team who partnered with us to transform this historic building into a 21st century learning environment while honoring its past, and did so in just one summer, 3 months, thank you. And to our students, past, present, and future, you are why we're here, and you are why this matters. So here's to the next 100 years of business at RPI and at the Lally School of Management. Here's to the students who will walk this building and change the world. Thank you and welcome to the Pittsburgh Building. Thank you. We're going to do tours. If you haven't seen it yet, there's also food and drinks on the upper floors. There's an elevator in the back, should you choose to use that. There's also stairs in the back, should you choose to use that. Before we do that, we will have a formal ribbon cutting with a few of our dignitaries.
You say 1, 2.
All right. We're going to say Pittsburgh and Pittsburgh.